Why do you think those of us who like trains like them? What is there that's attractive? There has always been something. There was a time, of course, when, and I should ask you one more question if everyone hands down until I ask, how many of you have had or do have toy or model trains? Great. I'm in the right place. Something about trains, something about steam engines, they're dramatic. But the other thing that fueled my interest, I think, was a desire to know things. Okay, it's good to know things, right? Isn't it? It's just kind of a very positive and rewarding experience. It's like, oh, no, I've learned about that. I know a little bit more about the Civil War, or I know a little bit more about how railroads helped develop the country, or what they meant culturally, or what it was like to work on a railroad. Obviously, part of the railroad is history. Like everything else in life, there is a backstory, as people sometimes say today. There's a history to it. And railroads, of course, have evolved and changed. I wonder, it's been, I think, very much in the news. Did any of you happen to hear this story, the really horrible, tragic story, about a terrible commuter train wreck in the Los Angeles area maybe a couple of months ago, and the engineer was caught to be text messaging to some young fans? Did anyone hear about that? Yeah, it was horrible. Many deaths. But the reason I mention it is one of the things that's changed, and railroading has changed so much. No more steam engines, no more cabooses on the end of passenger trains. You all know what cabooses were. You never see them, almost never, when you're out watching the long trains pass. But one of the other, I think, kind of interesting evolutions has been in the way that railroaders communicate with each other. It wasn't until, I guess, the 1950s that there were radios to be used between railroaders working on a train, or between the people off the train who controlled their movements. Before that, they had to use far more basic primitive ways. Now, actually, cell phones are carrying gas, although, especially since this last event, it is illegally used to test emergencies. But of course, cell phones, communication is so easy now, right? BlackBerry cell phones, whatever, got touch. But imagine you were running the engineer on a steam engine, 100-car freight train. At the end of that train was a man called the conductor, who was in charge. And there would be a fireman, there would be breakers, and they had to be able to communicate with each other. Let's say they were switching the train, they were going to take some of the cars off to one side. Well, how would they know when the engineer should go forward, go back? Well, back before cell phones and radios, they used this. Now, this obviously is a lantern. You all recognize that. But if I ask you, and I should have asked before I've gone this far, to tell me what a lantern is for, you might say, what? What's it for? It's for light, okay. To light up something in the dark. But in this case, this, called a brakeman's lantern, actually had a specific purpose, certainly light, and it is. Not more so exactly, but that's actually very close. A much simpler version. Not exactly. No, not exactly. Yes. Well, not so much where, but when. Okay, signal, that's what it is. Okay? It would be lit, of course, it's lit by kerosene. Okay? And let's say that the conductor was many cars away, and he wanted to tell the engineer to stop. Okay? He would use a simple sign like this. And the engineer, all that distance away, would see in the dark this lantern waving back and forth. And he would know that's the stop sign, so the stop the engine. And during the daytime, they would just use hand signals, same signal. Okay, suppose he wanted to tell the engineer to go ahead, and which is called eyeballing, which is a whole other story. railroad is full of wonderful slang, and one of them slang terms is eyeball. Okay, it's from an old kind of signal along the right of way. But okay, so he was just saying, this is Michigan. Okay, and then there's New York City. That it's okay to go ahead. Stop. Like this. No radios and no cell phones. Now, communication to the engineer conductor from a man who sat in an office miles and miles away. He was called the dispatcher, kind of like an air traffic controller today. And he would route the trains through the switches, and he would tell them when they had the right way to go.